A prenup is an important part of your marriage. You may not think a prenup is important, but the reality is 100% of divorces started with a marriage. And so it's really important for you to protect your assets on the front end, which will make the division of the assets on the back end much, much easier. A prenup's gonna protect all of the premarital assets that either you or your spouse brought into the marriage, and it's also going to create an outline that will dictate what happens in the unfortunate event of you having to file for a divorce. Prenups are a great way to safeguard the family inheritance you may have received, because what it does is it ensures that it's not going to be commingled or counted as marital property. It's going to remain separate, so the inheritance and the assets that you brought into the marriage are going to transfer back out with you in the unfortunate case of a divorce. Approaching a prenup conversation can be a difficult topic. Generally speaking, people don't anticipate having to use the prenup prior to you even having your wedding. The best way to approach this subject is to really try to phrase it in a way that both of you are going to be protected by this, and it's not just one party. You can dictate and you can draft your prenups in a number of different ways that are going to protect your assets. One of the great reasons to do a prenup now, as opposed to after the marriage fails, is because you're much more likely to come to agreements on how to divide your assets and what to do with things if there is an unfortunate divorce in your future. Sometimes people are concerned about a prenup because it may set them up for failure as part of their marriage. In reality, I think that it prepares the parties for a worst case scenario. As an attorney, what we really try to do is we try to prepare for our worst case scenarios, but hope for the best. I think a prenup really does the same thing for the parties. It's going to ensure that what they brought into the marriage also gets to leave with them after the marriage is over. All the stuff acquired during the marriage is generally just going to be dealt with in the same manner as it would anyway. But to the extent things get commingled and it becomes hard to tell what's what, it's easier to divide that stuff with a prenup. And while you're both in the state of sort of bliss right before you're getting married, it's much easier for you guys to have these conversations than after a potential failure of the marriage where communication is broken down and the relationship is much more strained. If you're anticipating getting married and you have an inheritance and you want to talk about a prenup, Husker Law is here to help you with that.